Thanks for joining us. I'm Marlin Bohling with you, and I'm joined by Chris Swift of Swift Trading in Nashville. We're going to take a look at the markets together. And Chris, it's report day.
It is.
It's multiple report days. We are going to have not only the WASDE report today, we're going to have export inspections a little later on today, and we'll get the new crop progress and condition report as well. So with all that in mind, there's going to be a lot that could be affecting the markets through the course of the day. Now, let's take a look at this corn market and see what it's doing at the moment. You know, Chris, we have September corn, 4.5 higher right now at 534. And December, well, it's 4 higher at 521. It's about 7 cents off of our earlier low. Are you encouraged by the way the corn is holding up here this morning in the face of all that rain over the weekend?
Well, I'm liking that we're not limit down this morning. So, that, that's one thing you always worry about coming in over the weekend is, has it rained too much or, enough in the right spots? And clearly, I think we got some great rains, but there is sections of the northwestern portion that rains will help, but they're not going to change the yield deficits in those areas right now.
Let's take a look at soybeans and see what they are doing right now on the August contract with these quotes provided by bar chart. 8 3/4 higher at 13.88 in November. 6 3/4 higher. We're at 13.36 per bushel. So that's about 9 cents off of its earlier low. You know, the soybeans are just a couple of weeks away from their most critical time. Mm-hmm. And that's, from what I hear, that's when it's supposed to turn hot and dry in the northern plains.
Yeah, I don't think that anything is set and done just yet as far as the crop being made. We've got the pollination of the corn and beans to go through, and seeing that hot, dry weather always makes some people scary. But, really and truly, if it were storms off rain, that can be just as damaging as what it could be if it were, not having the optimal conditions.
Well, what about wheat? Let's take a look at our wheat market right now, and currently in Chicago, it's kind of struggling here, Chris. We are down 1.5 pennies on September at 6.13 1/4. In the Kansas City market, you now have September 4.5 lower at 5.89 1/2. So it's really having an uphill battle today. Then you look at the Minneapolis wheat, and Chris, it's going the other way. 8 3/4 higher at 8.23 per bushel. That's about 6 cents, 5.5 cents off of our earlier low. But I would imagine this has to do with the fact that the northern plains kind of missed out on the rain.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't think that any of the spring wheat could come back at this particular point in time. I don't think you could get enough rain. And with the winter wheat, it's already pretty much all harvested and in the bins. And so anything that comes about from a price rally would be a show of demand, or possibly even higher corn prices would help at least keep wheat firm, as we could swap back and forth proteins for feed usage.
So I want to take a look at our cotton market right now and see how it's doing today. Well, we have December cotton about 18 points higher, and it's now at 87.89 cents per pound. The Dow Jones Industrial Average, we were looking at that earlier, and Chris, it's up 87 points again today at 34,838. And the question was, is it kind of drawing the investor money away from ag trade right now because these equities are so hot right now?
I don't know how to answer that, Marlin. I'm not real sure that there is. I do know that seemingly the equities market is able to overcome every obstacle thrown at it and still continue to push higher. We noticed that rates dropped precipitously last week. We're kind of surprised that all of a sudden we needed a big rate decrease in our money flow to be able to stimulate more borrowing aspects of there. So it's hard to say. But no, I don't think you're seeing any swapping of assets from stocks to commodities or vice versa right now.
Did you notice anything in the Commitment of Traders report that came out Friday, or do you watch that?
I don't watch it enough to really say, oh, this should impact it in one way or the other.
Okay.
No.
All right. Well, we'll come back in a moment. We'll take a look at how we are trading in our cattle and hog markets. We'll be back right after this. Let's get you updated on our livestock trade, and we'll go to live cattle here, and our quotes provided by bar chart. Well, they're just not doing much of anything here, Chris. We have August 37 cents higher, and we're at 119.60, and October just now went back to unchanged, 125.57. The deferred months just slightly higher, not much going on. On the feeder cattle market, you currently have August 37 cents lower at 158.80, and September down 30 cents at 161.52. Now remember, Friday, Chris, the feeder cattle closed fairly sharply higher, right?
They did.
At triple-digit gains?
They did, and the feeder cattle index was up a little over $7 for the week as well. So the big sales are going on. The Midwestern video sales are going on right now, and they offer up large strings of yearling cattle and very desirable cattle at these particular sales. And so they've got another 2 weeks of those, but noticed a little bit from last week's sales, there weren't quite as much volume as what we had seen the year before and over the 5-year average. So this week will be very interesting to see if they pick that volume back up again.
What about all that herd liquidation we had heard about in the northern plains?
It's going on. There's no doubt of it, but we haven't really noticed a lot of increase in cow slaughter, so potentially those cattle are moving into other areas instead of having to go to slaughter. We've not seen the slaughter increase any. We know that we probably couldn't pick it up, even if it were to become an issue to need to slaughter more. We're probably not going to ramp that up any. So I think you're seeing a lot of those cows move to greener pastures more so than into some kind of slaughter mix.
Let's take a look at our lean hog trade right now. And currently on lean hogs, pretty strong day here, Chris, with the August up at $1.90 at 103.47. What got into the hogs here?
I think just basis. We're narrowing up the basis. The index had not dropped nearly as fast as what the futures did 3 weeks ago. So the futures just took off and left the index, diverged from the basis, and now we spent the last 2 weeks just kind of creeping futures up a little bit, trying to catch that index level.
On the cutouts that came out Friday afternoon from USDA for the beef cutouts and the pork cutouts, we had the beef cutouts under quite a bit of pressure last Friday. They were down something like $3, $3.38 in fact, at $278.59. It's per hundredweight on the choice cuts. Selects were down $2.65, but if you look at the pork side, on the pork carcass cutout, we had carcass values down just 45 cents. The hams were up $5.87. Bellies were up $3.93. On the livestock summary, I was kind of intrigued by that. Chris, we had the cash cattle market anywhere from 118 to 120, dress basis sales 196 to 198.5, but the cash hog trade, especially on the carcass basis, over $2 higher out in the country. Now, what's with that? You were talking about the index.
Yeah, well, I think you're looking at protein price. So when we talk about the consumer and going to the grocery store, and we have entered into a, looks like a sector of stagflation, where we're not having any increase in employment, we're not having any increase in wages, but the price of everything is going up. So with a lot of the government subsidies coming to an end, I think price has become a very major point to us now, that when we look at pork prices versus beef prices on the retail store level, it's pretty easy to see which way the dollar can be stretched further.
Stagflation. There's a term from the past.
An 0304 word.
Yeah,
so,
boy.
Yeah.
Blast from the past. Well, thanks for coming in. Appreciate
Absolutely.
it. And
Yes, sir.
reminding me of my vocabulary from 15, 20 years ago. Chris Swift, he's with Swift Trading. He's right here in Nashville. Tammy, I'll turn it back to you.